Dear Carter, your logo is backwards. Hey, Drew.
Oh, hey, Carter.
Hey, Alvin. Is it? No, that's Bucky.
Oh, you would know Bucky.
Yeah, I would know Bucky. I lived in Texas. My wife's from Dallas, dude. Of course, Bucky's a part of my family.
Wait, you were reading something?
Backwards, please fix it. Okay, fix it. The logo has been fixed. Okay. We no longer have the backwards logo on the stream. No, I'm fine to do it. I actually took it down earlier, and then someone's like, Carter, you should lead with that. It makes it less funny if I say that. I'm sorry. Pretend I didn't.
Ruined it.
I ruined the magic of it. I should have stuck with playing Zelda. But so here's a gauge to tell how cool you are, Drew. Actually, we'll get to that in a second. Welcome to 100x Engineering, ladies and gentlemen, and others. The show where you learn to be not a 1x, 10x, 11x, but 100x engineer. I am your host, Carter Hesterman.
Joined here by Drew Johnson. Happy to be here, Carter.
Oh, you're getting into the news anchor mode early. I like it.
Oh, sorry. Did that slip out? Yeah.
A teaser for later. Spoilers. Yeah, we've got an exciting show today. We're pretty excited about this. I'm equally excited for our guest as I am for the game, which is a big compliment to our guest because everybody knows this game. So, props to them. So we'll introduce them here in a couple minutes. Drew, where did you get that Bucky doll?
The one and only Bucky's. It was somewhere in Alabama. I don't know exactly where, but it was my first time at a Bucky's, and I spent $71. I will never get back. And this is part of that $71. But they have so much in a Bucky's.
I thought it's like, wow, you spent a lot of money at Bucky's. Here, have a squirrel.
No, I had to pay extra for the squirrel. He's a squirrel? I thought he was a beaver.
I think
okay.
Nerd.
They have so much there, and I was just overwhelmed, and I was hungry. And yeah, for those that don't know, it's just this massive Costco-style gas station of all things. That it's just, I don't even know how to describe it, except that it's massive and has so much food. And
really nice bathrooms. Is the weird thing they're known for. Yeah, I kind of went on this like, what is this place? It's different.
It's definitely disoriented for a while, but it was fun. So yeah, that's my life update. I went to Bucky's.
My life update is I have over 55 hours locked into Zelda Tears of the Kingdom now, so that's been out just over a week. Don't do that. Do the math part in your head there, but
nice.
That game slaps. I didn't love the first one. The first one was fine, but I've loved the second one. It's been super fun. I don't think I put that much time into a game in a very long time. So thank you, Nintendo, for just ruining my weekend. One other shout out before we kind of tear into the topics for the day. 100x Engineers. So youtube.com/@100x Engineers. Check them out. It's not a sister or a sibling show. I don't know. What do you call it if it's like a sibling? If you're like from the same dad, but you didn't know your siblings because you're on like opposite sides of the world. One of those scenarios.
Long lost stepchild. Yeah.
Long lost step sibling show. So check them out at your soonest viewing convenience and give them a shout out from the 100x Engineering podcast. Tell them we sent you. Drew, do you want to intro our guest?
Yeah, I'm not going to really not prepared to intro this man at all, but
you just have to give the name. It's okay.
Yeah, let me work up to that. Yeah, he's pretty cool, and his name is Josh Barkley. I think we should just bring him onto the show. Oh,
Josh Barkley, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Barkley. Josh Barkley and guest.
You didn't say pug.
I had to one up your Bucky's.
That's a pug.
Way cute. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so what's up, everybody? I'm Josh. I'm a data scientist here at J1. I've been here about a year. I live in Raleigh, so HQ, and this is my dog, Maya.
Maya, what is going on?
Not a bug.
Gosh. Super happy to have you on the show. How long have you had your pug?
For viewers that don't know, it's like my big pet peeve when people mistake my French Bulldog for a pug.
It's disrespectful, right?
You heathen.
Yeah, no. I feel like Carter actually knew this and was just being an asshole.
Yeah. So she just turned 2 recently. So
Yeah, happy birthday, Maya. Cutest little Frenchie.
all right, we'll let you go. So Daddy can play take ball.
Oh yes, we'll be
Spoilers.
You're ruining it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're playing tank ball on Stug today. Hopefully my former boss is not joining us because Phil tore it up in this game.
Oh, Phil is way too good at this game.
Way too good. Like, get back to work, dude. Josh, tell us a little about yourself, aside from the fact that you live in North Carolina and you have a Frenchie, not a pug, and you do data science.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been in North Carolina my whole life. I guess outside of work, hanging out with the doggo. I really love snowboarding. So if I'm not traveling somewhere to go snowboard, I'm probably watching videos about it. I picked up jiu-jitsu like a year ago. I saw you guys had Sam Hall on recently, and I guess he started recently. So Sam, if you're watching, keep with it. Fun game, if you want to call it that.
It's a way of life, man.
It's a way of life. Jiu-jitsu principles are everywhere.
It's true. Josh and I have recently started working together. Just been exciting and super cool to work with. And we had some conversations about generative AI and data science, and which is really awkward for me because I know close to nothing about them aside from like my machine learning 101 course where we used VisMiner, a tool made by one of my professors back in like 2001 using Java Swing. It was a mess. So that's my extent of my knowledge. I'm really looking forward to the topic today. The topic of the day here is, do I have to go to Hogwarts to understand data science? I did my best to use AI to make a title better than that, and I could not. So that's the one we have. Before we tear into that, though, I am going to introduce our game really quick. Today's game is brought to you by Stug. Did we decide on if it's Stug or Stugio? You include the IO when you refer to a name? Hot take. Feel free to answer. Audience or Drew or Josh.
I think it depends if it flows or not.
Stugio?
I like Stugio.
Or Stug.io. Like there's like that one as well, right?
Yeah.
Creator of Zeldio. You can't just call it Zeld. It's Zeldio, so that's one. I hope people recognize that, otherwise it'll just sound stupid. So I'm going to drop the link to today's game. Tyler, if I could get some help with posting that to all the channels, feel free to join this, and then we'll get rolling here in a second. If you are joining for the first time, there will be a brief tutorial you have to complete. But this is essentially two-dimensional tank-based Rocket League. Failed to connect to server. Well, Drew joins and then it just crashed. So let's see if I can.
Classic.
Let's see if I can join it again.
I'm here.
Go. Now I'm no longer the host. Dang it.
It's over.
Well, I'm ready. Okay. Topic for the day. Let's kick things off. Actually, let me finish introducing the game. Yeah, this game is kind of like Rocket League. You gotta drive around. You gotta shoot the ball. You fool. You first must shoot the barrier blocking the goal. The ball will just bounce right off. Sure, I'll think about it. Thank you.
I'm getting like 3 FPS. This is so hard.
Oh no. If our IT department's watching, if we could get Drew a 3080 to help so he can play games with us next month.
Yes, please.
Anyways, kicking off the conversation, Josh. If your grandparents or your parents, if like your parents are not up to date on things, I don't know. If they asked you what you do for a living, how would you describe it to them?
That's a good question. Before I answer that, I'm gonna lead us off here with a little poem ChatGPT made in the spirit of the name of the episode, Hogwarts. If I'd seen it sooner, I probably would have ordered a Harry Potter costume. I'm big into little pranks like that. But anyways, all right. So here we go.
Take it. I love this.
All right. In the hallowed halls where magic's in flight, data science has lit a new light. Harry and Hermione, Ron and Toe, have swapped their roles for a data tableau. No more parchment, ink and quill. It's Python R and a hearty thrill. With spell-coded algorithms and enchanted charts, the trio are masters of the statistical arts. Remember the sorting hat's fabled choice? Now it's a neural network with a virtual voice. To Gryffindor or Slytherin, no longer a fuss. Machine learning and Hogwarts rides the night bus, night with a K. Harry looks at his scar, a data point distinct. Linear regression could solve it, he thinks. Could Voldemort's rise be a pattern repeated? A time series spell, and the mystery is defeated. Hermione the Muggle-born, always so clever, decodes arithmancy like never ever. Dobby's sock patterns, in a cluster they fell. Anomaly detection, ring the freedom bell. Data from Dementors, oh what a chill. Captured in data sets against their will. Patterns of happiness they drain, visualized in an ethereal pain. Voldemort's parcel tongue, a riddle no more. Deciphered text mind, its dark lore. NLP spells, the serpent's tongue tamed. In the realm of data, even the Dark Lord is named. In Hogwarts' enchanting, mystical halls, data science now resounds off the walls. Where once only spells and potions reigned, the magic of data has now been ordained. So wizards and witches, with your hands held high, let data and magic in harmony lie. In Hogwarts, where the two worlds intersect, it's a tale of binary witchcraft they'll never forget. Thank you, ChatGPT.
That was so
I've had a lot of
good.
I don't even know what to say. That was quite impressive. ChatGPT for Nobel Peace Prize, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, for sure. All right, cool. I probably got demolished while I was reading that. I think I got kicked out of the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, I don't even see you. You got demolished by the band hammer.
Okay, cool. So your question was, how do I
The
explain?
question doesn't matter. Nothing matters after that.
We can cut the show now. That was amazing.
Tyler, roll credits.
How do I explain this to my parents? Cool. I'm gonna try and be like as succinct as possible with all these answers. And if you want me to elaborate, I will.
Well, we got 30 minutes to fill, so don't be too
Cool. I'm in the business of taking a bunch of useless information or data and turning it into something valuable to help people make better decisions. So I get to use like fancy tools to help me do that. And one of those tools can be machine learning. So I guess the unique thing about being at Jupiter One is we have a graph database. So that for a data scientist, that makes things a little bit different because graph data is just inherently different than tabular data. So I'll kind of, I feel like graphs are going to get brought up. I'll just go ahead and nip that in the bud. But so for any viewers that don't know, or for my parents, if you're watching, graphs, I guess like one easy example, like I feel like everybody's mom spends a lot of time on Facebook. So social media can be thought of as a graph. It's anything where there are different points. So these could be users. We call them nodes or vertices. And then they have relationships with other nodes in the graph or vertices. So these are called edges. And that could be just that you guys are friends with each other. So that could be a connection. So that's one way to think of a graph. It's a little more complex here at J1. But yeah, I don't know. So kind of one of the beauties of data science is that it's a highly interdisciplinary field. And it uses statistics, computer science, and then whatever domain knowledge you need for whatever industry you're working in. So it's industry agnostic, which is partly why I got drawn into it.
Very cool. You mentioned Facebook and your mom's on it. I think it was Ted Lasso that said made the joke like a couple weeks ago, like, yeah, Facebook's kind of only become for like grandparents and racists now. I don't know if I agree with that or not, but it was a funny claim. What kind of decisions would data science help me be making? Would it be like, should I buy eggs or milk at the grocery store, or like, what are some of those decisions that like you work with? Drew, you're back. You're so powerful now.
I enabled hardware acceleration for my Arc browser in an attempt to step it up. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, let me reframe my question rather than derail it immediately after I ask it. So, like, what kind of questions do you work on answering with data science?
Yeah. Well, to go off what you said, I mean, yeah, if you want to build a model to tell you if you should buy eggs or milk at the grocery store, you can do that. And I guess it really just depends on like what your goals are. Like with inflation just skyrocketing egg prices, maybe you could build like a really advanced model that's going to come up with an alternative for you, or maybe I can find like the best grocery store that you should go and get like these hot sale eggs. But yeah, I mean, you can do it for pretty much anything, and I before I came to Jupiter One, I worked in healthcare, and we had we did projects where we were trying to forecast like the number of beds that were going to be available, and that was a big thing when COVID came around. Some other people at the health system did some really impressive work with just forecasting the amount of COVID cases that would come in. So you can do stuff with time series. You could make a prediction about like what bed should a patient go in, like what unit should we send them to based on all their comorbidities and like what's wrong with them, and like what's available. You could try to make some money in the stock market. The world is your oyster, I feel like, with data science.
So have you ever used it for like personal things? Have you ever like been like, hey AI or data science, like how much should I be spending on eggs this month? Like anything, like you've done like personal projects on that?
Not to help me with my budgeting, but yeah, I've done a lot of
on the grocery list thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think it's ever benefited my life personally, but I have done a lot of personal projects. I think one of the most. This wasn't even a data science project, really. I mean, I did do a lot of analytics to kind of guide it, but I built like a bot that did stock options trading, and it was really just executing other people's positions from a Discord group. So as soon as they came in, I had data on like what traders were good and who should I listen to. So I automated a bot to just do that and like make trades for me. And it was sick. The first day I made like $700, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be rich. And then my account just got nuked after that. Because of,
like it got shut down?
No. Like I like lost like whatever money.
No.
And like that's kind of like what I expected to happen in the beginning, but that was a really fun project though. And part of why it failed was just due to, I guess, the latency and the time when whatever trader posted, and me getting like not the same fill that they were. So I was typically not getting the same entry and exit as these people, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Well, that's wildly impressive. That was the only downfall of that, because you were that close to being infinitely rich. We wouldn't be talking to you right now.
I would have stuck with that a little longer.
You were so close. No, so what I'm hearing is you take data, and because data's all around us. It's in all these like disparate forms, and you do some kind of magic, and then you get these cool things. So like what you've mentioned models, like that's just magic to me. So what is the magic of these models, and how does it do that?
Definitely. Yeah, great question. It's not magic. It's all just linear algebra.
So magic.
That's all algebra is as well, but like it's still magic to us layfolk, us muggles.
Yeah. So I guess like you can think of a model as a mathematical representation of a real world process. And an easier way to think of that is a set of rules that we create to help us understand like complex systems or make predictions about future outcomes. So it's really just a set of rules. And in those rules, or I guess you can think of a model as just like it's an equation, and how we get good models, or how we teach the models is using taking an equation plus an optimization method in order to fit it to whatever data we give it. So it's I guess like a pretty common example is like trying to predict the price of a house. So you could use like a simple linear regression model, and maybe we have a couple variables that we want to use, like size, location, number of bathrooms, because like you don't want to buy a big house for your family with only one bathroom. So that's going to have a really high coefficient for sure. But so anyways, so you can formulate this problem, and then you can use an optimization method. So the example I'm giving, linear regression, optimization would be the popular one to use is least squares, and that's just minimizing basically the error for how far off is your prediction on the house. So I guess an easy way to think of it is if you picture a plot with all these houses and the prices. What is the line of best fit? Like if you draw this line through this through the X and Y chart, what line what line is close enough to all the points? But
how many points do you need? Like if I wanted to go back to my stupid question, like
yeah,
should I buy eggs or milk at the grocery store today? Getting away from even like what kind of data you need to make that. How much data do you need? Like how many grocery store trips, or like, you know, Carter meals consumed, like would you need? Like could you do it with like half a dozen, hundreds, thousands, millions?
Yeah, definitely. Good question. So the rule of thumb that somebody just kind of made up is 30.
Really?
That well, yes, but it really depends. And it depends on how much variation there is. So, if it's a really simple problem, 30 is probably going to be representative of a lot of the variation that you'll see.
If we want to use AI to say generate like a query language, we only really need 30 examples.
Just 30 is all it takes.
That's easy.
Just 30 is all it takes. Yeah.
I've said it, everyone, product managers, everyone, listen up.
Yeah. So yeah, you need and that like random hypothetical example, I don't know where you came up with that. You would probably need a lot. And that's when you get more into like deep learning territory, when you're dealing with like a lot of data and sophisticated data. Let's see.
So with that, like 30, sorry, I might be going in an unhelpful direction here.
No, you're good.
Drew, feel free to answer this as well. I don't know, like what things could you use, assuming like, 30, let's go with that. I feel like that's like a pretty low barrier of entry. Like thinking creatively, like in your personal life, like if you had 30 to, let's say 100 points of data on a given thing, like what could you use AI or data science to help you make decisions about? Like, what are some ideas? If anybody in the audience has ideas as well, please, I'd love to hear them. Like ideas or bad ideas.
I feel like this is such a loaded question. So like my limited understanding of like data science and just all of this in general is that question is such an impossible thing to answer.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Like generally about data and like what you need and how much. And like I think Josh, to your point on the variability of it, I feel like there's advanced statistics at play in almost every one of these scenarios. And Carter's like, but how many
you do and gather data on it, that like relevant data, like what would you want to analyze to help with your decision making?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like what should you focus on, I guess is a good question.
Maybe that's what I'm actually trying to answer. Like one thing I would like to do is hear how often I say the word like or and get an idea of where that happens in my speech patterns and in the scenarios in which that takes place. Like, so I think that'd be cool. Or how I could level up my Zelda Tears of the Kingdom game. Carter gets wrecked by this thing every time. Data shows it. I can't be the only one that has ideas here. You guys are killing me.
Josh is like, you really want me to solve these problems right now, live on air? No,
Josh,
I feel like,
freelance data sciencing. I have some jobs for you.
Yeah, I mean, like could be done for sure.
Watch me play Zelda for 30 hours.
torture. That's what that's called.
Yeah. No, I slap watch you play Zelda. My 3-year-old gets the biggest kick out of watching me play that game. It's great. Oh, new map. Okay, I won't make you guys answer that one. We can move on past it. Zelda is what I would go with on that one, though. Is freelance data sciencing a thing, though? Like, is that a thing that, like, is that like a thing you could do, like, for contracts with companies, like short-term engagement? Or is it usually a thing that, like, companies are looking for more of a long-term relationship to go through these kinds of things?
I think most companies are looking to build, legitimate companies that like actually want to invest in data science are creating teams. But there's a website called Upwork where you can go and do freelance work for. I don't think it's limited to data science by any means, but that's a popular place to go. But yeah, I think, and that could involve helping. That's gonna cover more data engineering work probably if you're like that kind of freelancer. So you're helping them build out their infrastructure, and then maybe you'll get like little side projects where they want you to do ad hoc analysis on something. Yeah, but I haven't dabbled in that game.
Yeah, I was mostly
You guys are keeping me too busy.
Sorry-ish, sort of. If you want me to lighten your workload so you can take on more non-juvenile
No, I like it here.
I used to do freelance work, and I was told by my boss, Carter, Jupiter One is your only company now. That was a long time ago. It was good timing anyways. I had a kid, and I was not able to really keep on top of it anymore. Drew, are you going to actually score on me?
Oh, I tried so hard. It's so difficult. Yeah, I've used Upwork some before, so sponsored by Upwork. Yeah, so we've talked, you mentioned a few of the tools you use. I'm super curious because I know of these tools and they sound super cool. Like R just sounds like a badass programming language, to be honest.
Kind of disagree, but go ahead.
Hey, listen. Python, it's Python, but yeah, I know it's powerful in some areas of data science. What are your go-to? What do you reach for to do these kind of, this magic?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a Python guy, and kind of just when you're getting started off, like the advice I'll give people is just pick one, Python or R. It doesn't matter too much. Some companies lean towards another. So, I mean, our team here is a Python shop. My master's program was more focused on Python versus R. They both get the job done. I guess the benefit of Python is it has a lot more computer science applications outside of statistics and data science. But I don't know. Things are changing really fast in the industry, and I think I saw something the other day that said R could do like some like pretty crazy stuff that that get out of the realm of typical data science. But so I use Python, and then also we use Spark. So that's a big data engine that uses distributed computing, which is just super awesome. It just does everything in memory, and it's really fast. And you can spin up a bunch of clusters and do like anything.
So are these living on like a server? So say you have like a Python model, Python model? Is that?
You just call it a model, but
so what are you doing with the Python code? Or is it like part of like ingestion pipeline, or is like the model like the rules of the model defined in the Python code or R code?
Okay, yeah, good question. So typically we might have like so for some of the models we've trained using graph machine learning, there's a library called PyTorch Geometric, and so PyTorch is the main framework. It was created by Facebook or Meta, and they built a library on top of that for graph machine learning or for graph neural networks. So yeah, you use Python to train it, and then for those, since we're working with graph data and it's typically large, we'll do like all the pre-compute with Spark and prep it to feed into the model, and then you train it and do all the other stuff in the MLOps pipeline. And yeah, so we use Databricks, and it's a really awesome tool for working on these types of projects.
That's cool. Sorry, I have my mind's running with like actual questions on here in case for our 2.4 million viewers who can't tell. I know little about this, and I'm like genuinely curious thinking about this from like an engineer standpoint. Okay, so if I'm like working on a project that has a data science component to it, I need to ask the model a question. How do I ask it the question? Like, is it an API call? Is the model hosted on a server? Or is that server co-located with like some running code? What's kind of like the interface by which like I as an engineer can engage with a model that you guys have created?
Yeah, great question. So Databricks has MLflow integrated, which is a tool for training your models, registering them, and tracking different versions. And then you can serve it for inference. So inference is a fancy word for prediction that we mean, but typically it means like real time. So you can use Databricks and MLflow to serve it for inference, or you can use like Amazon SageMaker also does the same thing. But yeah, so you're just hosting these models with SageMaker or Databricks, and then you can make an API call with a payload and get your prediction back.
Cool.
Quickly.
That's a lot simpler than I thought it was. Simpler on like the engineering side than I thought it was. For some reason, I was imagining like this has to look like, do I have to call this in code and it's like running at runtime and all sorts of things. So I think Drew, is it time for Drew's news?
Sure.
Oh shit.
Good afternoon, everyone. Drew Johnson here, delivering your latest tech news in digestible bites. That's bites with a Y. Today, we dive into the turbulent seas of data privacy. Meta Platforms, the parent company of Facebook, has been fined an unprecedented €1.2 billion by Ireland's Data Protection Commission for mishandling data transfers between Europe and the United States. It's like sending your data on a vacation to the States, but they forgot to pack their privacy. While this ruling doesn't affect our friends in the UK, it's a major wake-up call for data giants around the globe. Meta is appealing the decision, claiming it is unjustified and unnecessary. So it's safe to say the transatlantic data drama is far from over. That's all for today's tech update on Drew's News. Keep your data close and stay informed. I'm Drew Johnson, signing off.
Man, you got me fast on the draw with getting everyone turned off. And I can't remember who was with us last time, but I was like, oh, hey there. Because they were still on there. I forgot to remove them.
We're a well-oiled machine here at 100X Engineering.
We're as well-oiled as every game we play. I'm not ready to be done with this yet, for the record, so you best get back in there. It's like going on a vacation and you forgot to pack your privacy.
Yeah. So for those that aren't aware, GPT generates those news pieces for us, and I do not pre-read them. So
They do not generate the delivery, though.
They don't. But it's exciting to know. I'm just as surprised as y'all are.
Oh, that's pure gold. I got kicked out for some reason. Let's see.
I'm gonna score on you while you're not here. So back on topic, Josh. It sounds like the brunt of the work, or like the bulk of the fancy magic, happens when you're making these models, and then the inference side of things is normally, your job's done. You're reaping the rewards. Is that accurate?
That's a really good question too. Not necessarily. So there is a I don't know what to call it. Field ML ops is analogous to DevOps for software engineering, and so a big part of that, or a part of that, after you have trained a model and you're serving it for inference, you want to track over time to make sure you want to track like data drift and model drift. So data drift could be like, is the nature of the data changing? Or maybe if some people are, maybe if it's a text model, or people asking different kinds of questions. And then is the performance of the model decreasing over time? And typically that's because the data is changing, but maybe it's some other reason. So that's you do want to monitor these over time and retrain them however frequently you deem necessary.
I just made Drew score on himself. Sorry, Josh, I wasn't listening to you. Was he embarrassing my co-host?
I was listening, and that was fascinating to me.
You have the credit for the goal.
Yeah, I realized that happens. So I figured I might as well score if the ball was there.
Okay.
So I had no idea that's what I have heard of ML ops, and I kind of assumed along those lines, but that is actually really cool. And thanks for explaining that, because that makes a lot of sense. That data is rarely just static, and you're going to get a model that just fits everything perfect for the foreseeable future. So you need to tweak and adjust. That's cool.
For sure.
My mind is blown.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to add a big part of training these models is you train it on data that it sees and picks up the relationships and patterns from, but you also typically want to use a holdout set that it hasn't seen before, so that you can see, you're kind of trying to simulate seeing data in the wild. But that's never going to account for all the things that you can see once you put her into production.
You just triggered a memory I had of I think one of the only ML classes I've took years ago of the term overfitting. I feel like that might be tangentially relevant, and I feel super smart for saying it, even though I don't know really what it means.
You beast.
So I'm just gonna throw that out there. Overfitting. Period.
Yeah. Overfitting. It's a big problem. There's underfitting and overfitting. So underfitting, usually you just don't have enough data, and then overfitting is when you have, well, it could be caused by a number of things, but you can think of it as like, you're a student and you have a test coming up, and the professor gave you a practice test, and you just memorized all the answers for the practice test.
As one does.
And hope that would get you through. So maybe they reused a couple questions, but you are going to be wildly off from the questions you haven't seen before. So it just doesn't generalize well. Another really good example of that is if you're trying to like predict someone's age for just pictures of their faces, and it's trained on a small data set, and it sees somebody that has a scar, and it says, and it could be like a young person, and it says, oh, I've seen that person before. That's Mark. He has that scar. He's 57 years old. And making that age prediction based on that one little specific thing, instead of generalizing on all the features and looking for like wrinkles and that sort of thing.
I think the way you described that's actually really interesting. That helps it make sense quite a bit more for me. I too took a machine learning class and heard about overfitting as well. And on Drew's coattails there. Josh, this has been awesome. We've got one last question for you before we wrap. Man, we're at time. That went by fast. It's amazing how many times you can get Drew to score on himself if you're really not trying. If I'm an aspiring 100x data scientist, or say I'm a 100x engineer who wants to get more involved with data science, since it's a very hot topic right now, right? Where would you recommend I start? How do I do that?
Yeah, for sure. I think the best advice I can give to somebody looking to get into the field is just like there's like so many like boot camps and like courses, and people are just like, I mean, there are good courses out there, but like just like such a money grab for some of these boot camps and stuff. Just get your hands dirty on your own. Just pick something that's the great thing about data science is it's industry agnostic. So just pick a project that you're interested in, and whatever you want to predict. Like Carter, if your passion is the grocery stuff, do that. but and then I would recommend, so yeah, picking a project, get a data set too that's dirty, because that's another big part too. Like data in the real world is not always clean. That's a big part of it. So if you don't like dealing with messy data, you're not going to like data science. But yeah, just doing a side project like that and see if you like it. I was working on a side project to try and predict like movie recommendations using like the Netflix data and then some other data from like IMDb, and taking it. That's a popular like Kaggle competition, but I was going to take a different approach and turn it into a graph machine learning problem where like users are connected to movies, and then movies are connected to directors and other actors, and see if that see how well that performed. And then of course, like all the ChatGPT stuff came out, and that kind of like took my attention for the time being. But yeah, and then also bonus points if you can find like a good mentor in the field. That's helpful too, to have somebody kind of point you in the right direction, because it's overwhelming, but you're never going to be ready if you just wait until you feel like you know enough. Just like pick something and then let that project drive the learning.
Words of wisdom. I like that. I feel like that echoes back to like actually a recurring theme we've had in like our past several episodes, where it's like, do things on your own if you want to learn them. Just like take it by the horns and don't wait for someone to provide you the opportunity. So
yeah,
it's cool, man. Thank you, Josh, for all your wisdom, your thoughts, for just your presence. Thank you for Maya, and appreciate you coming on the show. And we will have you back eventually. We will talk to you soon. Have a good one.
All right, it's been an honor, guys.
See you, Josh.
See ya. Drew had to rage quit, and I was really looking forward to doing the outro without him, and so I could do my Drew impersonation and talk to him.
It was taking so long. My browser just crashed because it gave up on that game, and I was really hoping to get back in time so you wouldn't be able to do that.
Do we need to get you a new laptop, Drew?
I am raging inside.
Do they make laptops with 3080s in them? Do you know what a 3080 is? You don't play Zelda, so like I don't know.
I do know what a 3080 is, Carter. Gosh, that's just
do you know what an SSD is versus an HDD?
Man.
As an intern, I was such an asshole to another intern who like didn't know what an SSD was. I was like, "You're pretending not to know what it is because you want to seem cool." He's like, "No, dude, I actually have no idea what it is." I was just like the biggest jerk to him.
Just straight up bullying him for not knowing.
You don't know what an SSD is, so that was Carter from like a long time ago. Random thing about Carter from a long time ago, I remembered this. My only machine learning project that I've done was in college, and I was working on making a model that would have predicted whether you would have survived the Titanic or not. It had a funny name on it. I can't remember what it was, but the chief predictor was essentially gender and nationality. If you were European, things did not look good for you, and if you were male, things did not look good for you.
Right.
Fact. But yeah, because the Europeans, a lot of them, they would form a line and a queue and let people go. And like the Americans, I guess, were just like scrambling over people, like throwing themselves in the lifeboats. So
seems right. Sounds about right.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't think I would have survived. Was what I saw on there. But next episode is June 13th. Man, that's so far away. What are we going to do until then? Oh, we'll find something. Next episode is 100X is coming to you June 13th. Be sure to email us at 100xengineering@jupiter1.com. Guys, girls, everyone, we get so much mail there already. So if you're going to send it to us, just please make sure it's meaningful and worthwhile. But please refer your friends or your enemies, suggest games, ask us to say something on the show. We will do it. I promise you, unless it's not NSFW. And even then,
We'll do just about anything. We're desperate.
on the show. I think that's all. Yeah. Tell us about how you were already a 10x engineer and why you think being a 100x engineer is redundant.
I like that.
I made that one up. I'm happy with it. Drew likes it, so I have to claim credit for it and use approval. How would you rate the jankiness of this week's game?
Well, if your connection is subpar, it's very janky. But I know the game is great, so I can't give it.
Well, like Tankball is like a little bit janky compared to like Stug, just like Tank Battle. I will say,
yeah, it's weird. Yeah, you like
the ball animation is certainly not like Rocket League quality. Which I've meant to talk to Josh about as well, because Josh said he played Rocket League once upon a time. That game slapped.
Just had so much to talk about.
There was a lot to talk about and not enough time. Okay, well, Drew, do you want to say something to sign us off?
No, not really.
Yo, this is Hesto2 coming at you once again here with this week's episode of 100x Engineering. Don't forget to destroy that like and subscribe button. Are they one button or is it two different buttons? Destroy both the like and the subscribe buttons separately, but respectfully. And we will catch you in like 2 to 3 weeks because I can't do math with dates, just like JavaScript.